In this video, you're going to be formatting your timestamps and you're going to be displaying them to the screen along with the chat message. Currently, we show who it's from and the text, but the created at timestamp is not used anywhere. Now, the first thing we need to figure out is how we can take that timestamp and get a moment object back, because in the end of the day, we want to call the format method to format it as we like. In order to do that, all you have to do is take your timestamp. We'll make a variable called created at to represent that value, and pass it in as the first argument to moment, which means I simply pass in created at just like this. When I do this, we're creating a moment with the same methods like format, add, and subtract, but it's representing a different point in time. By default, it uses the current time. If you pass in a timestamp, it uses that time. Now this number, 1234, is barely a second past the Unix epoch, but if we go ahead and run the file, we should see the correct thing printing. Nodemon. In the playground folder, we're going to run time.js, and right here we get 7 p.m., which would be expected since it's taking into account our local time zone. Now that we have this in place, we have everything we need to actually take those timestamps and get back formatted values. The other thing we can do is we can create timestamps with moment. It has the exact same effect as the new date .getTime method we've used. In order to do this, all we do is we call moment.valueOf. For example, we can make a variable called someTimestamp, setting it equal to a call to moment. We're going to generate a new moment, and we're going to call its value of method. This is going to go ahead and return a timestamp in milliseconds since the Unix epoch. Console.log. We're going to log out the sum timestamp variable just to make sure it looks correct, and here we are. We have our timestamp value. With this in place, we are ready to go. The first thing we're going to do is tweak our message.js file. Currently, inside of message.js, we generate timestamps using newDateGetTime. We're going to switch over to moment, not because it changes anything. I just want to be consistent with using moment everywhere we use time. This is going to make it a lot easier to maintain and figure out what's going on. Right here, I'm going to make a variable called moment, setting it equal to require moment. And we're going to go ahead and replace this with calls to value of. What I would like you to do is go ahead and do just that. Call moment, call the value of method here and here, then go ahead and run the test suite and make sure both tests pass. When you're done, you can go ahead and click play. All right. The first thing we need to do is tweak the created at property for generate message. We're going to call moment just like this. Then we're going to call value of, getting back the timestamp, and we're going to do the same thing down below. Moment dot value of. Awesome. Now we can go ahead and save message.js, head over into the terminal and run our test suite using npm test. And what do we get? We get 2 tests and they're both still passing, which means the value we're getting back is indeed a number as our tests assert. Now that we have moment integrated on the server, we're going to go ahead and do the same thing on the client. Now, the first thing we need to do is load in moment. Currently, the only library we load in on the front end is jQuery. We can do this a few different ways. I'm going to go ahead and actually grab a file out of Node modules. We've installed moment, the version right here, 2.15.1, and we can actually grab the file we need for the front end. It's sitting inside of the Node modules directory. We're going to go into Node modules. We have a really long list of alphabetical folders. I'm looking for the one called moment, HIJKLMM moment. We're going to go into moment and we're going to grab moment.js. I'm going to right click to copy it. Then I'm going to scroll up to the very top, close Node modules, and I'm going to paste it right inside of our JS libs directory. Right in here, we now have moment.js, and if you open it, it's a really long library file. There's no need to make any changes to that file. All we have to do is load it in index.js. Just below our jQuery import, we're going to add a brand new script tag. We'll then provide that source attribute, setting it equal to /js/libs/moment.js, just like this. And now that we have this in place, we have access to all of those moment functions only on the client side, which means that over inside of index.js, we can properly format the timestamp that comes back inside of message. Now, before we make any changes, let's go ahead and start up our server using nodemon server/server.js is going to start it up. Then we can go ahead and move into the browser, going to localhost 3000 and giving it a refresh. And our app is working as expected. If I open up the developer tools, inside of the console, we can actually use Moment. We have it accessible via Moment, just like we did over inside of Node. I can use Moment like this, calling format. And what do we get? We get back our string. You should be able to make this call if you've successfully imported Moment. If you are seeing this, then you are ready to move on to the actual updating of index.js. Now, if you remember, on message, we have a created at property for both new message and new location message. All we need to do is get that value, pass it into Moment, and then generate our formatted string. I'm going to do it for new message, and then you will do it as a challenge for new location message. Right here, we can make a new variable called formatted time. And we can set this equal to a call to Moment, passing in the timestamp message dot created at. Now we can go ahead and do whatever we like. We could call format like this, passing in the exact same string we used over in time.js, the hour, the minutes, and the AM, PM. Lowercase h colon, 2 lowercase m's, followed by a space and a lowercase a. With this in place, we now have that formatted time, and we can go ahead and add it inside of here. Now, I know I'm using template strings inside of our client-side code. We'll be removing this pretty soon, so there's no need to make that tweak yet since I'm not testing in Internet Explorer or any other browser, although the final version of the app will not include template strings. Right after the from statement, we're going to go ahead and inject another value, the formatted time, which we just created up above. So our message should read name like admin, the time, followed by the text. I'm going to go ahead and save index.js, give the browser a refresh to load that client-side code, and right here we see admin 2:06 p.m. Welcome to the chat app, and that is the correct time. I can go ahead and send a message. This is from a user. Send it off, and right here we see it's now 2:07 p.m. This is from a user, shows up. Everything is working great. Now for send a location, we currently don't use Moment. We only updated the new message event listener. This means that when we print that location message, we don't have the timestamp. Your challenge for this video is going to be to get that done. I want you to take a quick moment to modify new location message. You can go ahead and use the same techniques we used above to get the job done. Now, in terms of where to actually render the formatted time, you can simply put it right here, just like we did earlier. Take a moment to pause the video, knock that out, make sure the timestamp shows up when you send a location, then you can go ahead and click play. All right, step 1 in the process is going to be to make that variable called formatted time. We can actually go ahead and copy this line directly, pasting it right here. We want to do the exact same thing. We want to take that created at field. We want to get a moment object, and we want to call format. Next up, we do have to modify what gets displayed. We want to show this formatted time variable, and we're going to put it right here. Formatted time. Excellent. Now we can go ahead and refresh the app, and we should see our timestamp for regular messages. We can send off a regular message, and everything still works. Then we can send off a location message, which we just changed. It should take just a second to get going, and here we are. We have our current location link, we have our name, and we have the timestamp, which is fantastic. That is it for this one. Let's go ahead and actually make a commit to save our changes. Even though we're not quite done with the message area, we have all the data correctly showing up. It's just showing up in a way that's not really pleasing to the eye. For now, though, we will head into the terminal, shut down the server, and I'm going to run git status. Here we have new files as well as some modified files. Git add is going to take care of all of that. Then we can make our commit. Git commit with the M flag. And a good message for this one is format with an uppercase F, timestamps using moment.js. I am going to go ahead and push this up to GitHub, and we are done. And that's it for this one. I will see you next time.